coming next. Just want to very briefly mention the Russell Brand saga that goes on. So as we know, the Times published with Channel 4 Dispatches published this article a few days ago. Russell Brand accused of rape, sexual assaults and abuse. We'll come on to this in a little bit more detail in a second. But before we do, this was the BBC's coverage of the same thing. Russell Brand accused of rape and sexual assault. And there was one sentence that jumped out of me here. The Sunday Times reports the BBC said that all the women felt ready to speak only after being approached by reporters. The newspaper said several felt compelled to do so given Brand's newfound prominence as an online wellness influencer. So this apparently has only happened because of the approach of reporters. And I just wanted to suggest or mention the fact that, of course, if we look at what's happening with Richard D. Hall at the moment, in his case, the legal action that's happening against him appears to have only happened after one of the families involved in the Manchester bombing was approached by reporters, in this case, Marianna Spring, and so on. So is this a new tactic by the mainstream press to encourage legal action? I'm certainly putting that out as a question. The other thing that I thought was really pretty despicable about this was the Daily Mail's attempt to attach Russell Brand to Jimmy Savile. So this was the headline. Listen to the moment Russell Brand tells Jimmy Savile he will bring along an attractive naked female assistant who will give him a massage when they meet. So the implication is that in a telephone call, Russell Brand was offering to effectively procure women for Jimmy Savile. Now, I'm not aware that Jimmy Savile was particularly into women. He was more into other things, younger things. But let's have a look at what it says. Russell Brand told Jimmy Savile he would bring along a naked female personal assistant who would give him a massage when they met. When Brand asks if he will meet him, Savile says, if you've got a sister, you could meet me by bringing her along. I don't usually meet fellas, but if you've got a sister, then that's okay. In response, Brand says, well, I haven't got a sister, but I've got a personal assistant, and part of her job description is that anyone I demand she greet, meet, and messages, she has to do it. She's very attractive. Jimmy, would you like her to wear anything in particular, Jimmy? Savile replies, you prefer to wear nothing, to which Brand jokes, that will not be a problem. There's nothing wrong with that. Then, of course, when you actually read further down the article, you discover what this was about. Savile had joined a live call with Brand on Brand's radio program in 2007. So this was done in public by Russell Brand. And David, I'm struggling to see the difference between this and, for example, the way that Have I Got News for You, the satirical news program from the BBC, had covered the Savile thing. They had Savile on their program, and they basically baited him in largely the same way. But anyway, before I get some comment from you, I just want to mention this. If we come back to the Times article and we look at who wrote this, the name Charlotte Wace is second on the list there. And of course, she has a bit of history of perhaps not reporting things entirely fairly, or in fact, destroying people's lives as a result of articles that she's written in the past, particularly this. So this headline in the Mail, this was originally published in 2017. You've got so many lines, you'll end up like Gordon Ramsay with one rogue beautician told undercover reporter in a bid to give her Botox illegally as a soaring number of women risk horrific scars from treatment. And there she is. Charlotte Wace was the journalist who wrote this article. She was the undercover reporter. And in fact, this report ended up in an inquiry from IPSO, the regulator, the press regulator, and also a libel case in which was finally settled out of court, but only after the Daily Mail having admitted that they got the story completely wrong and it should never been published in the first place. They strung the thing out so long that the victim in this case ended up accepting an out-of-court settlement, which perhaps significantly lower than she was entitled to at the end of the day. So I'm going to say there are significant questions around this Russell Brand situation. And at the end of the day, David, very, very briefly, please, but everybody should be viewed as innocent until proven guilty.
Innocent until proven guilty, and it is striking that when the sort of behaviour which Brand was quite open about, sexually promiscuous behaviour, was his stock in trade. No one mentioned anything about it, and he was given a complete pass. In fact, was lauded and encouraged and egged on and paid by such organisations as the BBC. And it's only when he starts to say, well, maybe that wasn't the right way to live, and talk about things that are perhaps more, things that are for sure more important, and starts to talk about some of the things that are actually wrong with the world, then they go for him. It is strange timing.
Yes, indeed. Okay,